Hi there, once again, this is Jacob John, and together with me is a familiar face, and I don't want you to guess because he's going to introduce himself to you.
Hi, I'm Jijuka Thomas.
Okay, so Jiju's over here and me, we both are going to say another set of words for you to brainstorm. Why? Because it is really necessary when you write your English language test. I'm going on describing and saying about all these things in the past video as well as in upcoming videos and all, but I want you to brainstorm seriously. It is going to enhance your vocabulary, and apart from that, you're going to get a very good flow of language, whether you speak or write depends upon you. So keep watching. Government. I was always thinking, government is of course a vital aspect of any country, any nation. It's very, very, very important. Without government, nothing is going to be, stable. Democracy, government, words like these are very familiar to you. They are so common that many times you might have used in their writing, of course, and sometimes the speaking. When the word government comes to your mind, to my mind, I would say infrastructure. Sometimes it just pops up. So what I want Jijisa over here is to explain what's the relation or what's the correlation between government and infrastructure.
Well, everyone would find it very, very difficult to define the term government. And obviously, when it comes to writing or in speaking, everyone would find it very, very difficult and very, very hazardous topic too.
Seriously?
Of course.
Oh my God.
So, politics is being termed as a negative terminology in all the minds of people.
That's there. I definitely agree with him. When the word politics comes, it seems like, oh my God, I'm not interested in it, but still.
But politics is a root of government. Because only with politics, the government will come into power. The government is there to execute the plans for the welfare of the nation. So, if infrastructure is the first thing which comes to your mind when government is over there. What's the duty of government? Obviously, it's infrastructure development. What all comes under infrastructure? Infrastructure means basic facilities or basic amenities, which means education, healthcare, transportation, communication, welfare schemes, law and order. These are the things. I'm coming again with that one. Education, transportation, communication, healthcare, social welfare schemes, law and order, and security. Okay, so education, there are three types: primary, secondary, and tertiary. These three sorts of education should be given free to the citizens by the government.
Definitely.
Then we have communication. There are two types: audio and video communication. We have a device with us, and other person also has a device. But the basic form of internet connection should be given by the government or by the private parties with the sanctioning of government. Then come healthcare. Healthcare consists of three things. The first one is vaccination, second one is health education, and the third one is restoration. These three parts should be given free mandatorily by the government. Then comes security. Security means giving protection to the people and their assets. Then comes social welfare schemes. That means giving a small type of aid or alms to the people who are needy. So these are the things which comes under infrastructure. Then we have transportation. We have several modes of transportation: rail, road, air, and water. Then come bridges. These should be given free by the government. These are the things which comes by the term government.
Wow. I was so fascinated by the way he is speaking because he's bringing all the aspects that is totally required for you to write a beautiful essay. That is your second task in your IELTS writing. And also, I think it'll be very helpful for them when they are planning to write your TOEFL or PTE.
Yeah, sure.
Of course, because brainstorming is an ideal part. It's like, it's like the core of something when you're trying to do. And these words or these aspects can be used in your speaking as well. It will obviously help you to fetch a higher band score. You have no idea about it. When the word government or infrastructure or the relation comes to your mind, this should be the answer or the thoughts that should come to your mind, and that should be freely flowing from your mouth. Anyhow, I'm really impressed. Okay, so that was a wonderful explanation from Jiju sir. Don't worry, I'm not going to load you with topics, but there is something that actually popped up in my mind. Progression, progressiveness, progressive nation. So what exactly does it mean? If you get a word or the examiner is going to ask you, what could you say about progressive nation? What exactly do you mean by progressive nation? Or sometimes if you have to agree or disagree in your second task in IELTS, that is your essay, about progressive nation, or how come a nation can be much more progressed, something sort of that. So let me just ask Jiju sir over here. You might have heard me blabbering about progression over here. So I want to ask you, what could be the indications regarding progressive nation?
Okay, very well, Jacob sir. That's a good question. But before I get into that one, I have three things to say. Countries are often divided into three: developed nations, developing nations, and underdeveloped.
Definitely.
Okay, so the second country, the second categorization, that's known as developing. Developing is synonymous with progressive nation or progressing nation or their emerging nations. So there are four indicators for a progressive nation. The first one is effective utilization of resources, proper conservation of natural resources, then escalating the living standard of women and children, then providing basic infrastructure. I'm very sure that you are being very, very enlightened with the word infrastructure that we done in the previous section.
Exactly.
So now we are going with the four indicators. The first one, proper utilization of resources. There are several types of resources. Suppose we take the case of India, we have a great population. That's considered as a great asset for India, and that's a human resource.
Yeah, manpower is very important, right? So
Yeah.
of course it is.
So the human resource is not at all effectively utilized in India. We have a great aging population and a youth population and a child, but we are not at all utilizing them in a perfect and a prudent manner. That's the thing. Then we have proper conservation of natural resources. Our land, our water bodies, lakes, seas, then our wood, each all comes under that thing.
Yes.
Then we have the infrastructure that I told you earlier in the earlier session. Then we have the escalating living standard of women and children. So once upon a time, they have been marginalized. So now we are just escalating their standards. If these four things are done properly, the nation will be a progressed one, not a progressive one. Progressive nation comes under these category, but if we do all these four things very, very prudently, the nation will become a progressed one. That's the answer for it.
Wow. So that was actually very simple, but for you guys, I actually want to fume up your brain a little bit, because when you get this particular word, all sorts of ideas should flock from all the directions. It's really, really, really important. And why it is important? Just because you have to clear your test, and that too of English language test, where anything under the sky can be asked, isn't it?
Of course.
Yes. So that was about what is progression, what is progressive nation, what do you actually, it's like a little bit, you have to think your brain regarding that, because I'm not going to ask once again. Let me just ask you one thing. India is the land of diversity, land of culture, progression, progressive nation, everything is going on. So farming is something that is actually it has taken a great toll on everybody's life. Everybody is having a proper wage, everybody's into farming, and no land is going waste. It is used maximum. That's the thing, that's the notion that we all have in our mind, right? We have various varieties of crops, yield lot of varieties of fruits, vegetables, whatever it is. What exactly do you mean by factory farming? That was just out of the blue, but still.
Factory farming, well, that's a tricky question. You will find it's very, very difficult, and you have to be on your toes to answer the question. Factory farming is one of the parts of biotechnology. So I am very, very sure that you know the term biotechnology, because we both done the topic earlier. I'm not going to repeat that one. So this is one of the categories of biotechnology. Factory farming means we are cultivating animals. We are having animals in small area with large quantity. Cultivating animals in a small space with bigger proportion. KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken. Poultry farming is an example for factory farming. Then we have cattle farming, and we have then dairy farm, then we have ham shed. We are cultivating animals in a small space with large quantity. That comes under factory farming. This is a topic for you in writing and in speaking, especially in IELTS. So please be mindful of these two things. One side we can say that it's an ethical question, because we are ill-treating the animals. It's an ethical issue. That's violence against the animals. That means we are violating the animal rights. In other way, we can say that we are falling in short of land. So we have to cultivate those animals in the available space. So that's the only solution for the food scarcity, I would say. So factory farming would be a panacea for food scarcity.
Okay, so that was a really, right on the spot answer. So what exactly factory farming is, how a progressive nation should see it, and what all should come under factory farming. He actually balanced both the views, when you're using animals for, for food, and animal right is also there.
To be preserved.
Yes, to be precise, exactly. So those were both the aspects. So you should always learn how to balance your answer whenever you get a word along with brainstorming. Anyhow, guys, thank you so much for watching this particular short video. Why these short videos are important is just because if you don't understand when you get a certain word, these videos might help you how you can dissect words when you get it. Till next time, stay tuned. Thank you so much. This is from Gigi sir and Jacob on behalf of Be Good.